Morning, welcome back to Noble Flowers. I'm Phaedra and we flower farm and sell retail in northeast Victoria, which is on the southeastern side of Australia. And today we're going to do a farm tour. So it's been a little while and we've just started autumn over here. Autumn starts on the 1st of March in Australia. So we are feeling the difference. It's getting cooler at night, the days are cooler. The flowers are going to start slowing down now. So I just thought it's a good time to give you a quick look at how things look at the end of summer here on the flower farm, and we'll just go over a few things. First thing I'm going to do is give you an update on the flower studio because, well, I'll just show you. It is looking very good now. I have finished all the plastering and all the painting. I've got the lights up, except for this one. Having trouble with that one. There's not a lot of space to get the PowerPoint up. So I've ordered all the skirting boards. I have to figure out what to do with this floor. I've got some pretty bad marks and scuffs on it. So I need to give it a really good clean, see if I can, most of this is just plaster dust. I just need to give it a really good clean and then get some sealer. I'll have to empty everything out. The air conditioner still has to go up, but we can't do the air conditioner until we fix up that leak. So I've ordered everything for that. So we should get started on the outside of this studio in a couple of weeks. They reckon that the flashing will take about a week to get here. The siding is turning up on Friday, so we'll just have to wait till things all turn up for us to get started on that. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good. That flickering is just because of the frame rate of the video. The lights are not really flickering in here. Have another problem here. Let me just turn those off. Okay, so I have another problem here. That PowerPoint doesn't fit up the hole. So our electrician's gonna get me a smaller point so I can poke those up. Yeah. So that was a bit of an oversight. And then the other thing, big thing that I want to get done is this pole. I was going to wrap this in timber, make it look like a timber beam. But the timber I want is going to cost me $600 because it's Tasmanian oak. So I'm going to have to scrap that idea and go for something a lot cheaper. And plus the Tassie oak is very heavy. It's a hardwood. I think I just need to go for a cheap light pine and just stain it a nice color. So that's probably going to be like that for a while before I get that done. So anyway, we're getting there on this. We'll head out to look at the flowers now. We just had a kangaroo jump through in there, so now he's obsessed and he wants to go in there. Come on, it'll come back. It actually lives around the house, so you've seen, I've had it on videos before. This is just my house garden. But I love it, and I've been working on it for years because I still don't really quite know what to put here. But I think I'm just going to fill this with daffodils. So I've got the daffodils rather than having them out in the flower field. But I want to just show you something real quick. So this is a plant, it's a bit knocked over, but it's called an Easter daisy and it is beautiful. And I went to the wholesaler yesterday and they were selling it as a cut flower. So I bought some. And it is so beautiful, so I'm pretty chuffed to see that. So that's another little filler flower. and it's very easy to grow. It just grows like a weed. It sort of does nothing until about, you know, once the end of summer starts to hit, so it's a good one to have on that shoulder season into autumn. This is the little garden, well, big garden I was working on. So Jamesy has a little like vine cubby in there now that our friend made us. My hydrangeas are all doing really well. I didn't really cut flowers off them this season. I just let them grow. I cut the flowers off this one because it was really struggling, and it's a white one, so I didn't want it to die. But they're looking good. I'll take cuttings off them in early spring and just keep multiplying them, because this whole area back here we are turning into sort of like a cute picnic area, and I want to have hydrangeas all around the edges. So, you know, I just want to build a paradise here. Boo! Come on! We bought 2 more of these. They're just really cheap ones off Kogan. I think they're $80 each. They're actually excellent. The green plastic is amazing. We've had this closed all summer, and we've had the oh look. Look! What's that? Oh wow! It's a bug. Anyway, you can see I've got, well, we've even grown veggies and everything in there. So we've got 2 more. The trick is, you can see I've got a star, well, Mara and I put them in. We've got star pickets in each corner, and you have to tie it down to the star pickets, because otherwise the wind just lifts the whole thing up and it's gone. So this is our little sort of easily movable hothouses for seed starting. Only we didn't get the plants in the ground, so they're all growing in here now. But look, these are literally growing in seed trays. So I'll come and pick them. My zucchini, none of my zucchinis did very well this year, which sucks. I have had some capsicums on here. Got a lot of weeds, but we are going to put down the weed mat before we put the other ones down. Celosia. Whoops. Sometimes things just get away from you, especially when you're farming. It's very, very hard to keep up. And some of these plants were supposed to go in January. They're not in, so we're now having a big lag in what we've got available on the farm, which is a bit of a problem, but we know for next year. Dahlias. This bed I still have to clean out. Okay, I've got some shocking news for you about these dahlias. But let me show you them first. Avalanche, still not here. Wendy's place, still not here. Cliff salmon, it is actually really, really pretty, but I've been cutting them, so you're not going to see that. Hotshot, haven't seen one of them yet. Haven't seen an evening mist. Seagull is beautiful, had some of those. Laney's Joy is really pretty. Haven't had one of these, haven't had any of those. So the season will be over before many of these even flower, which I'm finding very annoying. And probably I need to have them in a sunnier spot. These are just, this is Drachenberg. I love it. It just grows like crazy. Drachenberg and Mexico. Oh, and this one, I can't even think what this one's called. First prize. I have been picking them like crazy. This one does pretty good too, Wendy A, but does not last very long in a vase. And that brings me to the shocking news. I don't like dahlias. I mean, I love them as a flower. I think they're beautiful for the landscape. As a cut flower, they're shocking. We've actually had customers complain about it too, because customers just don't understand. They want their flowers to last, and they don't really know how to look after their flowers. They don't know that you need to change the water regularly. Well, look, we tell them, but they don't do it, and they don't want to. So they really need flowers that you can stick in a vase, and they're going to last a really long time and be low fuss. And dahlias are not those flowers. So we'll probably just have a field of them, maybe to use for the purposes of workshops and pick your own, and we'll use them for orders and special bouquets and things. But having roadside flowers with dahlias, roadside bunches with dahlias, it is not working. People are loving them, but they're not loving how quickly they spoil. And we just don't want the drama, to be honest. There's a few flowers. Zinnias are another one. The zinnias just muck up the water so fast. So if people aren't changing their water, which they don't, it's really going to crap really fast for them. And I just think they look ratty. I honestly think even sometimes when you first pick a dahlia, it looks ratty. They're just not a flower that I love. Anyway, so moving forward, be interesting to see what we do next year with the dahlias and the zinnias. But we are looking for alternatives for feature flowers for the summer. This shed project is on the back burner because we don't have time. But here's our flower field and it's looking glorious. Even though you don't see many flowers. Oh look, there's Moroni waving to us.
Hi, May.
I'm doing the end of summer farm tour.
Okay.
Anything that you want to say?
Happy end of the summer.
Moroni's building beds. They look beautiful.
Yeah, well, what I'm doing here is I kind of sieving a little bit because it has this grass.
Oh yeah.
And this grass, I mean, if it gets buried, it's going to multiply.
He's copying you.
So I want to try to get rid of as much as I can.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'm not going to do it all the way over there.
Even just leaving one little piece and it just comes back. It's terrible stuff. Gee, that's a bit dangerous, that thing.
Yeah, this is a work area right now.
Yeah, the whole thing's a work area. Anyway, let's go through this. Alright, so we do have a row of sunflowers way up the back here. We had another row here and it's got a bit of cosmos, but we aborted that mission because the sun is starting to hit a lot lower in the sky, so there's not going to be much sun left. This whole patch is kind of being made redundant now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the end of this patch. It's really just a summer patch, that's it. We won't plant anything else in this area. Row of sunflowers here, they are taking forever, and I think it's just because we've had some cold snaps of weather. They're in a shadier spot. Teddy bears did terrible. They were so short and tiny. This is really finished. This is just branching. They're just branching from the stems that I cut now, and this bit's finished. So the plan here is we will pull everything out, tidy the beds up, and probably cover them for the winter just to try to keep those weeds out. Cover them or either cover crop them, I'm not sure, but we've got some really invasive grasses, so cover crops end up a nightmare here too, so we're not sure about that. Everything's trial and error. So here's some Celosia. It's the, I can't remember which one it is, I'll have to put it up.
Amaranth.
Amaranth's not Celosia, yeah, sorry. Perfect colour coming into autumn. We did get that in a bit late. Got a massive giant sunflower head here. Oops. It'll almost be ready for us to, yep, it's actually, the seeds are in under there. This is baby's breath. It will, we can succession that all year here. So we're going to put another succession of baby breath in, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will get that in. We're actually going to try and stay on top of it now. We need to weed this out and just tidy it up a little bit. But in case you're wondering which one's the actual plant, it's this one. Amongst a lot of weeds. Next row over is the surprise dahlias. Some of them still haven't flowered. Some of them are prolific. Some of them we've had one flower off. Whatever this one is here, I think somebody did say in the comments what it was. It is really good. We're getting lots of blooms off it. That massive big fiery red one, this one, very slow. But I guess because it's so big, I don't know. I have been cutting from these little ones. Don't think I've seen this one yet. She looks like she's going to be pretty. This one I think is the same as the one over there. And none of these have flowered yet, so I don't know whether it was just they needed a year of plumping themselves up. I don't know. Another row here that we're just tidying up. A lot of blackberries. Got to figure this out. Cosmos still going strong. The trick with keeping your cosmos going is obviously plenty of water, but you really need to get rid of the flower heads. So there's a lot there today, and I've kind of left them so it looked a bit pretty when I did this video, and I've been doing some photos, so I needed flowers on them, but I'll go off and deadhead them all. So I don't want anything turning to seed. Otherwise my plants are going to stop producing. But it's so pretty, look at that. And I love that we lined it up with the house, and once I get it all painted down there, it'll be so pretty. What a gorgeous view. I love cosmos, I love it. We probably should have planted another succession of it, sort of in the middle of summer. We're just lucky. It's going to take us through till the frost, so just a lucky break this time. But next year we've got it on our calendar. I'm actually going to show you our big calendar. I've developed a huge big calendar that just makes it really easy to pop notes on as the year goes on. I was listening to Lisa Mesa-Zinkler's podcast. It's really good, and she's talking about how they stay organised on the farm, and she said she's got a big, yearly calendar. They just write stuff on there so that they can refer back to it really easily, and it made me think that would work really good for me, just to have a big one up on the wall. But I've organised mine into weeks, so there's just big blocks per week for 52 weeks of the year, and I just make a note so then I can transfer that onto our planning for next season. Just things like, I'll show you later in the video. I'll actually show it to you, and I've got them for sale, so I'll tell you how to get those as well. We had a spontaneous zinnia pop up here, and it's actually been a really good one. But in here we've got another row of sunflowers. I've had some off them. In amongst it, this looks like a weed. I know it's actually tomatillos. It's a Mexican thing that Moroni eats, but real pretty in a bouquet. A random spontaneous status, and we've also got some lamb's ear up here, which I'll transplant later on when it cools down. This bed, that must be what's that stuff called again? Not tansy. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he must have just had a little bit left over, so he's put it there. We've got asters here. These look like pink ones. They're not bad. I like paper daisies better. Not the native Australian paper daisies though, the pink and the rhodanthe ones, they're a pain in the butt. This was just our trial patch of feverfew, and it never did any good. That was the one we planted at the start of spring, whereas this one is the one we planted last autumn, and it's still going. And our Celosia, and it is amazing. Amazing producer. Amazing in a vase. It's got a really long vase life, and it also dries. So there's lots with little heads, and then there's these huge massive heads. What I've discovered is, and it seems a bit obvious, but if it puts all its energy into these massive big heads, it has a shorter stem, and then the ones that have the smaller heads, of course, have a longer stem. So we need to figure out how to get these things to sort of grow somewhere in the middle, because some of these heads are gorgeous, but they're very short. Like these are not bad, but it's pretty short. But look at that beautiful head, and it's on a really thick stem, and I need to basically cut the whole plant off to get to that. Whereas contrast that with something like this, and it's on a really nice long stem. They still look really pretty in bouquets, even with the short, with the smaller heads. And I actually used them in the Valentine's Day bouquets, and they were gorgeous. So we've got pink in. Do we have the pink Celosia in?
Right?
Do we have the pink Celosia in?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that. It's over there. We'll go back. I must have missed a row. Yeah, somehow I missed a row. So this row is pink Celosia. They're tiny though, and I'm not sure that they're going to actually grow before summer now. Winter. Some basil. This was a trial. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I actually love it. It's really good to put into bouquets that have stinky flowers. And some of the dahlias are pretty stinky. They smell like pepper. And tansy stinks. What else stinks? Feverfew smells nice. There's a few flowers that don't have a very good scent. So you put the basil in with that and it kind of overpowers it and it smells beautiful. Downfall is it takes so long to... You've got it in the ground for a really long time before it actually gets long enough and goes to seed so you can use it in the bouquet, because I found if you use it before it goes to seed, it wilts really fast. So you really need to have space to dedicate to it. To just let it do its thing until it's ready to harvest. But once it's ready to go, it is awesome. Okay, plot number 2, our status, which we have not nailed how to do status, have we?
Well, the thing is, some grew pretty fine, but I think we were not into the weeding, and
Do you reckon
because
that's a problem?
yeah,
Always
well,
goes
and
brown and yuck.
also the soil was pretty bad. It wasn't sieved, so it got pretty hard.
Yeah.
So obviously,
I'm finding it challenging to do status.
well,
You reckon you can
there's
do
one
it?
plant that grew over there that I
Yeah,
put.
it's nice. And the ones that grew here were really nice.
Yeah, so I think because the soil was loose and
So you reckon we can do that better?
yes,
Okay.
and also these ones have trouble because there was so many rabbits eating them.
Oh yeah, we had
Because
rabbits,
it
and
was
I
at
think
the
the
edge.
kangaroos were eating it too.
And because of all those rocks, they quickly can come and eat it and go and hide.
Yeah, cheeky buggers.
So that was a big
Well,
problem.
this is season number 3. We'll work on that again. But yeah, it's pretty weedy. Look at that. It looks terrible, actually. Sea holly. Absolutely stunning. I am going to grow a whole row of it for next season. I love it. Very spiky. I just shared a short on it during the week about how to deal with the spikes, so check that out. Blue is just so vibrant. It is really, really nice. In a bouquet, it's not a statement. It doesn't kind of scream out, look at me, but when people kind of have a closer look at the bouquet, it's a nice surprise. They're like, oh, look at that, what's that? So I actually really love it, and I'm drying some, and those 2 plants that I've got sitting there, I'm leaving those to go to seed, and I'm going to collect it. The bees love it, absolutely. The bees are obsessed with it, which is really good too. These are the seed dahlias. I did come across one that I like. She's a pretty one, and I think she's going to stay, and she's got really nice strong stems, so I'll tag her. A lot of them were no good though. This one's not that good. The colours are pretty, but the majority just, like these are just the floppiest heads. Just, you know, I don't want to really have to deal with dahlias in a bouquet at all, so I definitely don't want to be wiring stems. That's just a lot of messing around, unless it was for a special order. Some more, are these asters? I keep forgetting.
Aster.
Yeah, more asters. They're not bad. I mean, once it gets to that, there's no point picking it. I've been picking them at about that stage, so they open up. This is a creeper that just randomly grew, and I love it. We're just going to see if the frost is going to kill it or not. If it doesn't, I think I'm going to put an archway in and just let it grow over. Have a random archway in the middle of a row, but it is real pretty. It's actually being supported by, I've got a little trellis here and the Queen Anne's lace. We need to get this Queen Anne's lace out. We've got to get rid of this. We don't want it to get into the neighbours' paddocks. I like Queen Anne's lace, but I don't think it's the best use of space.
Okay.
It just goes off so fast, and the stems are really unpredictable. Another row of sunflowers. Hey, what's this?
That's a dahlia.
Ah,
It's a random one that I found.
that's kind of sad. We'll see what happens. And some... What's this?
Oh, it's the leftover of this.
He's just planting random things in places
Well,
now.
instead of chopping them.
Yeah, that's fine, Mimo. Just random things here. It's just it's the end of a bed. We've got some volunteer zinnias, a little bit of tansy, some Queen Anne's lace. It's just a random row. Now, this is still our test bed. So this is the feverfew, which really we should have succession planted. We're actually still getting stuff off it, but don't be fooled. These ones are no good. Oh no, that one's actually good. These ones, oh, that's a good one too. Never mind. This one, see when we cut it way too high, and now the stems are short. When you cut it, so here's one here, that's actually cut pretty low. When you cut it, you want to cut it down as close to the ground as you can get it without ruining the plant, so that when it grows, see how this one was cut really low, like right there, the first cut, it will send up its shoots and grow nice long stems for the next round. In saying that, the next round isn't as prolific, and it still might be better to just rip it out and succession plant. But look, we're just letting that sit there, see what happens as an experiment. Another row that's been ripped out, that was the Luxbar. So it's almost time to put the Luxbar back in. This was Sweet William. Two minds about Sweet William. It is, well, it doesn't do much in many bouquets. It doesn't sort of say much, but it does add a pop. It's a little bit time consuming to pick, but if we get rid of everything that's time consuming, what flowers do we have left? We can't keep doing that. So yeah. The last row out here is this zinnia row, and it has done the whole summer for us, which is amazing. I went through and tagged the best heads to save for seed. I have already picked off one, just got to keep an eye on it. There's a couple more around here that I've tagged, but it is just doing really well. I think I've made it known I'm not the biggest fan of zinnias, but they probably are here to stay. There's another tagged one in there, because I mean, they're not a feature flower. I'm not going to pretend to make them a feature flower. They're definitely not. But as a secondary flower for a bit of pop and colour, I think they're nice. But like I said before, they muck up the water pretty quick. So, I don't know. Look, the reality is we need to start educating our customers that summer flowers just last, they're shorter life than the winter flowers. And it's got a lot to do with the conditions of summer as well, like the air temps are warmer and there's more sunlight, just all these things that will send off a flower. And the reality is when you cut a flower, it's dead. It's now a dead plant. So at that point, you're just prolonging it, sort of preserving it for as long as you can before it's decayed. And that's what a cut flower is. And I think that's why many people just don't want to cut their own flowers in their garden, and I get that. Nothing happening up here, but as you saw before, I have actually purchased the hothouse, so that's going to be a project to work on. Okay, let me show you this calendar. So it's just set out in weeks with the dates. I think I started them on Sundays, but you know, you just want to write your little notes on there. So in October, that's when we need to start our lemon rush sunflowers, and like sort of middle of October. Here is 6 weeks before the last frost, so we want to start these seeds, and we're just keeping notes like that. And there's sometimes, I should have pinched the dahlias around here, so I've popped that in so I remember that for next year. There's just little things that I want to be able to remember. Start the cool flowers back at the end of February. Should have done that. This is when we need to get the Mother's Day flowers in and succession plant them so that we've definitely got them flowering at the right time. The autumn seed order, like it's just our last frost date. And there's some things that we just want to remember that we didn't do that we want to do next time. Like you know, start the cool flowers, end of February, start the seedlings. There's also, I need to put up here as well. Oh, I've already got it here. Start of Feb. I should have started the kale snap stock feverfew. I didn't do it. So I've gone back and written that on there so I remember for next year. In Australia, our season starts in the financial year, basically. So our financial year starts on 1st of July, and that's the middle of our winter. So pretty much that's when our season starts here. And so my calendar that I use is the financial year version. So it starts in the middle of the year because of our season. But for you, depending on where you are in the world, it might work better for you to have the calendar that runs as a calendar year. So it starts on the 1st of January, and I've got that version as well in the store. So that wraps up our video for today. We've got a few pretty big projects on the go. The studio, especially the outside of it, the hothouse. They reckon it'll be here within the month. And we've got a lot of seeds to start. And we really should have already started them, but we've got to start working on the cool flowers and getting them in. Which, if you've been watching along, in Australia it's not as dramatic. You don't have to get them in before the first frost because we don't get the snow here. We've kind of got most of the winter to get those in, but earlier the better. So stay tuned and I'll see you next week. Bye.